Boomer Center. It is almost football season in Oklahoma. Really, it's football season year-round, isn't it? My name is Ryan. I am the founder and curator of Oklahoma Memo, where we amplify and talk about journalism from across the state, and that absolutely includes sports. Maybe you saw my short that I posted just a little bit ago on the top 5 stories in Oklahoma Sooners football this week. That's something I'm going to be doing, but I want us to just spend, if you would, spend 5 or 10 minutes with me, and let's just talk about scenarios for the season. Under what circumstances could Brent Venables lose his job? Understanding that the environment, the way that the football program is constructed, and the hierarchy is different now than before. With Jim Nagy coming in as a de facto GM and Randall Stephenson volunteering as president, really, the construct of college football now more resembles an NFL team. There's a lot of good buzz regarding the Sooners this year, and that includes John Mateer, quarterback. He's athletic. He can throw the ball. And Ben Arbuckle, the new offensive coordinator coming in from Washington State. Maybe the difference from last year to this year will be more like from John Blake's 98 to Bob Stoops' 99 when we had Mike Leach as an offensive coordinator for 1 year. I think that we're going to see more of that high-powered offense, especially given that we have a running back super talented from California, Jayden Ott. The offense should be high-flying. The question, of course, is the offensive line. And one of the stories that I had in this week's top 5 Sooner stories is about that offensive line and the chemistry that they've developed. So good signs there. Because Nagy is in as GM and Stephenson is in as president, Venables doesn't really have to behave like a CEO of the football program. He can focus on coaching. And he has decided to use his talents on defense, calling all the plays, getting involved. I think this is a good move. And in this world of college football, somebody as talented on defense as Brent Venables can focus on the defense. Allow Jim Nagy to oversee the recruitment of players and bringing in the right guys and managing the money. So this could be an exciting season. Phil Steele, in his preview of college football, says he wouldn't be surprised for OU to be in playoff contention this year and a top 10 defense. That's a good thing. But let's say that it all goes south. And I don't mean all goes south, but let's say that it's another 7-5, 6-7 type of year. Does Brent Venables get fired? I think he survives almost every circumstance this year, simply because, well, primarily because the construct is different. Unless he just, unless this team goes 0-13 or 2-11 or 4-9, he's good. But we're talking at those mid-levels. I think he's okay as long as the defense performs up to par. If this is an offensive problem, it is what it is. But as long as the defense stays solid, I think Brent Venables is good to go. And let's talk about that schedule for a second. I've got it right in front of me, so I'm just going to look that way. The Sooners open with Illinois State, a football subdivision team. If the Sooners are FBS, they're FCS. They're up there with the Montanas, the Villanovas, the Sam Houston States, the North Dakota States. But Illinois State, as I remember, is actually pretty good. So I don't think this is going to be 63-0 or 70-0, but it should be an easy Oklahoma win. Michigan comes in. I hope the Sooners do well in that game, but who knows? Then the Sooners go to Temple. Should be a win. Auburn comes to Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold comes in here. I don't know. You would think that it would be an OU win being at home. Gotta have solid home field advantage. And then the Sooners welcome Kent State to town. If you remember the last time Kent State was here, their offense was actually pretty good. OU Texas, that's always a barn burner, and hopefully it is more eventful than last year for the Sooners. And then OU goes to Columbia, South Carolina. Of course, you remember the Sooners got their butts kicked by the Gamecocks last year. It wasn't close. That game was over in the first 2 minutes. That's the type of thing that can't happen. Ole Miss comes to town. Should be a good game. Ole Miss should be a good team. They don't have Jackson Dart this year. Oklahoma goes to Tennessee. That's always a tough game. Even the game that Baker Mayfield won several years ago, the Sooners were losing in the fourth quarter and had a miraculous comeback. There was some serious Sooner magic working there. The Sooners go to Alabama. Missouri comes to Oklahoma. comes to Norman, and the Bayou Bengals of LSU come to Norman. This is a tough schedule, either the toughest or the second toughest all year. So for Phil Steele to say that the Sooners are going to have a top 10 defense and could be competing for a playoff spot, that's high praise. But again, let's talk about it. Offensive line. They're here, they're healthy right now. Can they stay healthy all year? Are they talented? Well, we presume they are. They signed a few guys from the portal and recruited 4 guys. And one of the stories we have talks about all the chemistry that they've got together. Great. Now, stay healthy and work together. Quarterback, John Mateer, Jayden Ott. There's a new wide receiver. I forgot what his name is, but he's expected to be really, really good. That wide receiver is Zion Kearney from Fresno, Texas. I don't think I've ever heard of Fresno, Texas. Anyway, he's 6'1", 207 pounds. He'll be a sophomore this year, number 7. Expected to be really, really good. And, of course, they got Jaden Gibson coming back and Deion Burks. The only for sure wins that I see here for the Sooners are Illinois State, Kent State, and Temple. Everything else is, and I don't know. The for sure losses, I'm going to tell you, I don't see any for sure. I absolutely don't. If the improvements are what they say they are, you could be in every one of these games. I mean, I do expect the Alabama game to be kind of a revenge game. That might be a tough day. The South Carolina game in Columbia, that could be tough. Tennessee could be tough. Although we don't know what the situation is with quarterback there. But all in all, the signs are pointing up for the Sooners. And the point of this video was just to talk about, are there any circumstances in which Venables might lose his job? And I would say that only if the defense goes south. If the defense goes south, or we end up with a 5-8, 4-9, or worse record, then there might be a discussion. But really, this program is in the hands of Jim Nagy and Randall Stephenson now. If you dig what you heard today, if you enjoyed the conversation, go ahead and follow this channel. Give me a Boomer Sooner in the comments below. August 30th. Let's do it.